before Wednesday.
Bada bing, we're live again. We just came back and
that's right.
I
saw 4.
let's do the Time Warp.
Yeah.
Like I said,
last week, writes about salt intrusion.
they keep cutting off salt, but we just had a commercial break, so we just came back right now.
Because Somerset County voted
they
for
can cut
me
us off.
They caused the salt.
So, no. They basically implied that those people down in Somerset County are just too stupid to know what's in their best interest. I mean, they literally. This is what the Democrats are doing now. The liberal elites look down on anybody, on the common person, the hard work.
You are a deplorable.
Absolutely.
You are a smelly Walmart person. You cling to your.
I do have
Bibles.
I have Bibles.
And to Olive Garden, and I will tell you this.
Oh, not that.
Not
allow Chipperellas. Go to Johnny D's. Go to Johnny D's.
The mouth is it? I will.
CNN, MSN, all they said was people, Trump people.
Yeah.
They leave one of us, and us as Trump
Terrorists,
people.
yeah.
Terrorists.
Yep.
I mean, they say things about us that anybody could. And you know what? I think it's time we ask, even Fox.
We've got to go in.
Yeah.
I think it's time that they owe us an apology.
They
even
do.
the girls on The View. I mean, everybody.
We ought to storm the View.
I think I've come up with a solution.
You think about Mel and Nicole, 75 million. They are basically telling 75 million people your opinion doesn't count. It's worth
30%.
I want to tell you what's going to happen. They're going to start telling you how to live. All these, a lot of things that you're not going to want to do.
Yep.
And guess what? If you don't back now, just your
You won't be
future
in a
and your
position to fight. You
yeah,
won't be.
and don't and think about
But
your
you know what's
future and your
happening, Mallory?
grandchildren's
I'll
future.
tell you. There are us, and we have always been fighters. We have always understood what is happening to the country. We've been patriotic. And then there were a lot of good people out there who voted on that. They were a little hesitant, concerned.
That's true.
That whole bunch is bigger than our number, and they are now being lit up.
And
they are responding.
They are angry.
Yeah, and that is a good sign. Like Rob, who called here about seeing younger people getting involved. Today at the Patriot Plaza in town, right near the court, and they had a huge crowd there. Mary Taylor and Amy Adams were there for the reopen Baltimore County,
Yes.
which there's no
Oh,
reason.
good. I didn't know that.
No, there's no reason to have it closed. Super Citizen now has a legal foundation. We have lawyers, and we met with these people this week. These Super Citizens, and we have committed to suing Baltimore County Board of Education and the superintendent. Next week we're going to do a news conference. Reopen the schools. Now, all across the country, different lawyers are suing on the cases all across the country. James King, who you knew, won the case in Anne Arundel County for the schools. Now, Mary asked me to announce that we're launching the lawsuit, and there was all the parents there, and there was the children. It was a wonderful crowd, and they all had signs that said "school," mocking our great. Send him a bar of soap, his address. But they gave us a standing ovation. But they were enthusiastic. So they need that extra punch. And I'll tell you, just on that note, the rule, as you brought up at the beginning of the show, we're going to have to do a lot of suing in this new era where we're under attack. I know it didn't work for the president.
Or if you live in Cuba.
But he's got now 250 new federal judges, so the suing is going to work much better
That's
now.
wonderful,
It's
yeah.
going to work.
We're going to have to do a lot of suing to defend our freedom.
We will. You know, the schools, you bring up a point about schools. Let me tell you, that's educational malpractice that they haven't opened the schools. There is no scientific data at all that's where the spread
Well,
of
it's on the
COVID
other
occurs.
side.
Absolutely. The restaurants, the same way. There is no scientific data. So all these liberals who run around saying, oh, it's science, you know. No, you're the denier. The facts are that spreads. Schools are not where this spreads. And the worst thing
Terrible.
is that the poorest children were set back the most.
Yes.
These liberals who say about people of color, let me tell you something. People of color are the ones who are hurt the most by closing
Yeah,
down
like
schools.
the mayor closed down
And
the city
closing
and
down restaurants.
black boys are now out of work.
Absolutely.
But you know, you're a doctor. You see people's faces when like they've lost a loved one, or they've been told that someone is very ill. You've seen that look as a doctor. I'm going to tell you, the look on the faces of these people today, because their children are not learning. You know, your child is only in the 5th grade once,
Let's go, Bert.
and if they get a bad 5th grade.
Yeah, I hate that. So it just, we cut out because,
But I can tell you to leave their jobs.
but every time we get cut out,
And
I
then the
come back
system
on.
doesn't work.
Give me a couple of minutes, we'll get you back, we're back on. This is
not
part
work.
two.
A third of the
Thank
people
you.
in Baltimore City never log on, ever. A third of the students in Baltimore City, like, I'm sorry, you're destroying their lives.
All
You're
right,
simply
let's
destroying
take
their
one
lives.
call before we take a break, and let's talk to Bevan. Or is it Kevin? Devin. Devin, it's Devin. Devin. Good
30
evening.
times the charm.
Hello.
Yeah, Devin, speak up, my friend.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. Congressman Harris, thank you so much for standing for this. Pat, thank you so much for reporting it. I was there on January 6th, and I can tell you now that we did not want to enter that building. Occupying the steps and making our voices heard were only option. We wanted to make the public servants, while in session, hear our voices. It was corrupted. There were people that broke windows, and God bless them, but there were patriots up front that got caught up. And they went into that building, and they were wrong.
Devin, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's what happened. I think, the people who were the Trump people, they just got caught up in it. But I think what we're going to find out if we investigate, the leaders of the people who broke into that building were the same kind of anarchists that we have seen throughout the country this summer.
Well, not only the country, but back in when President Trump first got elected.
We're going to take a break for
Gosh,
the news.
absolutely.
Yeah, we are.
Take a break I just want to alert our good friend,
20 seconds.
the pastor, is
Pastor
coming
Lewis.
on right after the news.
Okay.
So, Pastor David, stand by. We got to take a break for the news. We'll be right back.
Oh, baby.
Stay connected with stimulating talk and breaking news on Talk Radio 680 WCBM
See how hard I work?
and WCBM.com.
Breaking news this hour. Pressure's mounting to once again open impeachment proceedings against President Trump. At a news conference, New York Democrat Congressman Hakeem Jeffries says the House is prepared to act immediately.
Yeah, right here. I'm typing
My
what you're saying.
expectation that on Monday, a privileged resolution will be introduced that will charge
Okay.
the President of the
We're
United
gonna put
States
you on right
with
after the news.
inciting sedition.
However,
You're welcome,
Missouri
Mark.
Republican Senator Roy Blunt called the impeachment talk ridiculous, noting it would be virtually impossible. He added both House and Senate Democrat leaders know that, and the only reason to proceed would be for just pure politics. The developers of the now canceled Atlantic Coast Pipeline are laying out plans for how they want to go about unwinding their work and restoring disturbed land.
In a filing
Okay.
with federal regulators, the pipeline company proposed an
I'll be right back.
approximately 24-month timeline for efforts in West Virginia and North Carolina. Progress on the pipeline project ranged from none to essentially complete in some areas. The plan outlines where the company plans to clean up felled trees and where they plan to leave them behind. It also proposes abandoning the roughly 30 miles of installed pipe in place.
Correspondent Jeremy Howe. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un threatened to expand his nuclear arsenal as he disclosed a list of high-tech weapon systems under development, saying the fate of relations with the United States depends on whether it abandons its hostile policy. Kim's comments during a key meeting of the ruling party this week were seen as applying pressure on the incoming administration of President-elect Biden who has called Kim a thug
Oh,
and
boy.
has criticized his summits with President Trump. Thousands of Israelis
Lord,
gathered
mercy, Lord,
outside
Lord,
the,
Jesus,
uh,
Lord, mercy, Lord, Jesus, Lord, Jesus.
Prime Minister
Hey, man, how you doing? Well,
over corruption charges and-
welcome to coming on to the second hour of Power. 2 hours of Power. We're in the second hour, especially all that's happened at the Capitol, all that's happened with what's going on, everything, COVID, everything. President Trump, we're going to hear all the real deals right here. We have Andy Harris here. Hey, Governor Andy Harris, right here. And that's great. But for those of you who have small businesses that serve food, please go call Benny Sedano. Benny Sedano, shut up! Benny Sedano has the best produce around, inspected right on the docks before they hit the truck. He will give you the best product around. That's 410-799-1833. 410-799-1833. Ben's Produce. Call Benny Sedano. Tell him Ron Savage sent you. His family will be your family. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. Also, with all this is going on, you have a local place to go. You have a... You never know what's going to happen here. But anyway, you got a local place to go with all this COVID stuff, everything's going on. I'll tell you what, go to Johnny D's Lounge. Jeez Whiz. And yes, he's got the best shrimp salad I had around, I'll tell you that. Johnny D's Lounge, 1705 Amuskai Road, Parkville, Maryland, 21234. Give him a call at 410-665-7000. You can have a private party in the back of his room, okay? He's got a nice little table. It's very family. And look, he's got a hall. Rent a hall. Have some fun. Rent a clown. You're going to have a lot of fun. Pop balloons. You're going to have a great time. Listen, call Johnny D's. Tell him Ron Savage sent you at 410-665-7000. Hey, go get yourself a drink. Another thing, we had, these was... Well, what kind of a New Year's party you had, I don't know, but it must have been small. Mine was just me, one of my guys, and Betsy Bootsy, we were there. But, see, you had a couple guys, fighting around, and all of a sudden they broke your bathroom. Look, don't worry about it. If your toilet got broken, your towels, call Vince's Towel Works, Vince Palmer, okay? He's the owner and operator. He's the boss, all right? So go to Facebook and see his work. Vince Palmer. He's also a longshoreman with Local 333. Woo! Support our union, man. It's where it's at. Everything will come nowhere unless it's through the longshoreman. Go check out Vince's Towel Works. Vince Palmer, owner and the operator. Go to Facebook and see his work. He's always in the bathroom, but he don't have a bowel problem. He's in the bathroom fixing it up. So go check him out. He's a great guy. Tell him Ron Savage sent you, and you will get a free roll of toilet paper. No, I'm teasing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, we're about to go once, so hey, stand by, baby.
Childhood home. Congress directed the study in 2019. More on the
seconds.
stories at townhall.com. I'm Ron DeRockstra.
Bada bing. Bada bing.
Around the mid-20s, average low for this time of year.
Bada bing.
Low 40s is the average high, and we are going to surpass both of those.
Yes.
Under clear skies. Fall back
And you
to
see
around
that?
30. You see some upper 20s.
See this?
Sunshine
It's called Freedom
Sunday,
Day.
mid to upper 40s.
Pat's going to have Freedom Day,
Sunday night, overnight low 28.
and we're going to try to make it. We're going for Freedom Day, June the 12th.
Sunday night, late.
That's the second Saturday of every June. Every June, the second Saturday, Freedom Day. All right?
Have you
We'll be
ever
talking
wanted to
about
learn a
that.
new
We'll be
language
talking
like
about that.
French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then
Right.
go to Babbel.com and try it for free.
Woo! Hey, want to get in touch with Pat McDonough?
It teaches you
And,
everyday conversations that
You don't have a computer, some folks don't. I respect that. But guess what? The mail sucks now because that's a whole other story. But when you write them, right here, that's Pat's mail is Pat McDonough, P.O. Box 15470, Baltimore, Maryland 21220. That's Pat McDonough, P.O. Box 15470, Baltimore, Maryland 21220. Write him a letter. Say hi. Write him a letter. Now, for those with the computer, Pat's email. Bing. Here he is. Pat's email. You want to email Pat? You email Pat McD at Comcast.net. Pat McDonough. There he is. Pat's email. There you go. You could email Pat at patmcd at Comcast.net. Send him an email. Say hi. We're talking about the super citizen that involves with the Freedom Day and everything else. He's talking about the super citizen going along with this. I'll tell you what. You want to be part of it, all right? Join it. Don't talk about it. Join it. Here you go. Join Super Citizen. All right? SuperCitizenUSA.com. That's SuperCitizenUSA.com. Or call 410-238-0025. That's 410-238-0025. Join Super Citizen. Be a super citizen. I'm telling you. Here it is. Be a super citizen. We'll talk about the Super Citizen one more time. There you go. Join it. Okay? And that's SuperCitizenUSA.com, 410-238-0025. Join. We're calling back to the Pat McDonough second hour power. Here we go.
And now back to Super Citizen Radio on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Boom.
No, Pat, you're playing Rocky just for that Colin Allred story about me, huh? So you're playing Rocky?
No, Andy, unfortunately, it's our theme.
That's been Pat's theme song for many years.
Many years.
But that's the Rocky, Disco Rocky.
And I picked that out.
The world does not revolve around you.
No, that's because, you know what? People like Pat and people like Andy are patriotic and they're freedom fighters. And that's what everybody has to remember out here in radio news.
I'll never give up this fight. Never.
Well, we can't. Well, you know, what is the alternative? The alternative is the subjugation of a great country. And one of the things that people don't think about in a general sense is this is the worst time in the history of America, and maybe the history of the world, if you look at it in a broad sense, that this country should be divided and under subjugation and under attack. Because if you look at the rest of the world, if you look at the terrorism, if you look at Putin and the Russians and how aggressive they are, and they have hypersonic missiles that go 10,000 miles, and then if you look at the Chinese and their determination to be the superpower of the world economically, when we need to be really competing with them, and Trump was beginning to do that. And I tell people, if you like, go Google, because I know none of you keep history books, but Google the Punic Wars, which were in 250 BC to 150 BC. These were the wars between Carthage, which had been an
Betsy wants to say hi.
in the world
Betsy
at that
Bootsy,
time,
my
since
little baby.
800 BC, and the
She's
Roman
got her sweater
Empire,
on.
which had just begun to grow
There she is. Look at her.
in 670
Betsy Bootsy,
BC,
Bootsy,
and they were the emerging power like the Chinese, and Carthage was America.
Okay, baby.
And if you could, we've got to watch the in the
But that's an
Oh,
interesting
my
comparison. I
God.
can't argue with you on that.
yeah, and Carthage was defeated and destroyed, and never existed again, and the Romans won. Now China is an emerging power, and we can't have the division that they had in Carthage, and the problems they had. Then as people said, "What are you nuts? You're talking about 2,000 years ago." I got to tell you, people. Human beings are the same today as they were 2,000 years ago.
Very
We
true.
really are.
Very
Even with
true.
technology, it's our souls that really have not changed.
Human nature is the same. Our founding fathers understood it. The Greek philosophers
did,
understood it. You know, this is. I'm just, very, very frustrated by what what we see going on. You're absolutely right. You know, we should have learned the lesson from places like Rome. You know, when enough people vote themselves funds out of the treasury, you know, the government will collapse. And,
Well, I have to.
and that's what's going on now, Pat. As you know,
We're not even thinking about that. I have to ask forgiveness from my pastor. Pastor Lewis, are you there?
Sorry, Pastor.
I am here, yes, and it's always an honor and a pleasure to speak to all of you.
Well, I'm sorry I held you up there.
Hey, listen, it's a great show tonight, and I hope there's a lot of people listening.
Pastor Lewis.
I hope we can get a recording of it. I have to ask Representative Harris a question. Were you in the chambers the other day when the irreverent chaplain Emmanuel Cleaver ended his prayer?
I was not, but believe me, it is the talk of the Republican caucus. Ending the prayer with "a woman" instead of "amen." And I know Mr. Cleaver, Reverend Cleaver, very well, and I just don't know what got into him.
He said it was supposed to be a pun. That
It wasn't funny.
Wow.
Right, it landed flat. He
Yeah.
has admitted that it landed flat. But yes, it was supposed to be a pun, but I don't think that that's how you should start.
You know, in all deference to him, in all fairness, the dishonest, corrupt media took advantage of that. They never said it was supposed to be a pun. They tried to plan it and put it into their politically correct world that he did something great.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pastor.
I'm not surprised anymore by anything the politically correct crowd in Washington does. So let me just say, and I've said this before, God will not be mocked. True Christians pray for the Lord's mercy every day because we know our sin has compromised our fellowship with God. And mercy is his way of not giving us what we deserve. And as a nation, we deserve his judgment, if not his total wrath.
Oh, yeah.
How much longer can we wait until we get that judgment? And now...
He appears to be very patient.
Yeah, oh, yes, indeed. But now we've got an insult to injury in this opening prayer of the 117th Congress, which ended by Chaplain Cooper saying amen and a woman. Now, amen means so be it.
So be it, right.
Jesus taught us to pray in the Lord's Prayer. What, pray tell, does a woman mean at the end of a prayer to our Father in heaven?
It means so be it, or I will hurt you.
Yeah, Representative Cleaver also referred to God as Brahma, who is a Hindu god, and the god known by many different faiths. It should be clear to everyone out there that the Democrat Congress is giving the boot to God from the government.
Well, during Christmas...
In America, we reap what we sow.
Well, you know, Pastor, during Christmas, 10 churches were burned across America.
Yeah.
There isn't any question there is a politically correct movement in America to attack
I
faith
didn't know that.
and
You guys
attack
knew that.
Christianity in particular.
You guys knew that.
And it's going to get a lot stronger. I mean, we have a Catholic president who believes in abortion.
Yeah, put air quotes on that.
Yeah, you better put them right. What a disgrace. And I think
Yeah.
it was either the Bishop of Wilmington or of Delaware that wanted to deny him access to communion at one point.
Oh, that sounds like the sheriff of
you know,
Nottingham.
But anyway, Pastor, how are you doing? We haven't seen you in a little while.
Well, I'm fine. Ready to get back on TV when you all are ready.
Well, we're going to do a show in January, so we're going to start up our schedule again, and I'll give you the schedule and let you know what's happening. And let's see, January, February, March, April. In May, we're doing a 1-hour special on freedom to a June 12th Freedom Day rally, so that'll be something special.
That'll be something
And we'll be
special.
talking to you about that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's Pastor David Lewis. Now, there's a freedom fighter.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, the pastor rightly is concerned all the time. The radical left, the people of faith, the pastors, the ministers on the radical left, the priests, they're organized and active, Andy. We can't get our guys. We can't get them active.
Well, I think some of that is Republicans are much more independent. We like to stand on our own 2 feet. We don't do as many group exercises. I think that's...
Well, we work for a living.
Well,
That's right.
now, some Democrats work for a living too. But, I mean, we tend to be centered around our families. We tend to be
the family.
busy with, the kids, with our neighbors.
We don't have George Soros's money.
We're not, we just aren't, and it is our downfall, really, because I've worked enough in Maryland politics to know that trying to get, even with the numbers that we have, which obviously we're outnumbered in this state, but even with the numbers that we have, to try to get people to volunteer for, a Super Saturday or door knocking for a particular candidate or anything like that, we just have other priorities.
Difficult. You're right about that, Nicole. And I'll tell you, we had David Keene on the show when he was the president of the NRA, and he told me something shocking. 40% of the NRA membership is not registered to vote.
Yeah, I know that. I run into all the time.
And you take some of these organizations that are conservative pastors. Now, David Lewis, his people are all active. Pastor Shiflett and Dundalk, those people. But a lot of them are not. And, I mean, on earth, God's work is truly our own. And, we have got to be more active. And a lot of these people are not registered.
Yeah, we've got to do exactly what Stacey Abrams did in Georgia. You go out, and not everything she did, because she probably also
cheated too.
Stuff too, right? But look, They went out, they registered people. We have to register every single, and it's like Nicole says, look, people have busy lives, they have other things they're thinking about. We don't have George Soros's money to do it. They spread around, it was not only Soros, it was one of the tech guys, spread around,
$100 million
to local governments to basically, register people and to put polling places
and
where,
elect
liberal
states
areas.
attorneys who will not prosecute anybody.
Yeah, and then Secretary of States, they went to elect Secretary of States because they know they run the elections.
The elections.
They're smart. But it goes beyond that. It's conspiratorial as well.
No question.
But at some point, we have to do exactly the same thing.
We have got to model them. I'm going to make a proposal, which I know you will love to propose, maybe to the Republican National Committee. In every Republican major office in the country, we should have a picture of Stacey Abrams. Follow this woman. Now, I know people won't go to work anymore. Stacey Abrams, as you pointed out, she registered 100,000 people legally.
Right.
She did but she's been active for like 10 years.
Yes.
That's
a profession with her.
Yeah, it really is. But in the last 48 hours on both my social media and Andy's social media, people are asking, "What can I do? What can I do?" Because he's like, I'm just, people are like, I'm either now starting to pay attention, or I've always voted, but and maybe I've helped a candidate or two, but what can I really do?
Well, Nicole,
other than marching on the Capitol because they acknowledge that
what
that's
can I
wrong.
do effectively?
So, here's our thing. We always we like to concentrate on the federal side. We like to concentrate on the White House and Congress and Senate, but so much of the change happens at home. It happens on the school. It happens on the school board. It happens on city councils, on town councils, on county councils. Yes. We have to start paying attention to that, and we have to, and especially if you have kids, start going to the school board meetings. If you have grandkids and that you are primarily responsible for, or you babysit a lot or things like that, start going to the school board meetings, start going to your county council meetings, get involved at the local level, because change actually happens from the bottom up more than it happens from the top down.
And the other side knows that.
Right.
They figured it out. Why do you think they're in Baltimore County? They own Baltimore City. They don't need to be there in the military. Once I conquer a part of conquer Belgium, I'm going to France. Right?
Now, where you calling from, Monica?
Here's the rumor I'm getting. In Baltimore County, we have 7.
Yeah, you can say.
This is exactly what Nicole's talking about. We have 7 seats up for election for the Baltimore County School Board. We are being told that Black Lives Matter is going to run a candidate for each seat, and they expect to raise a minimum of $1 million.
For city council.
No, just for
election. Board election. I'm sorry. I concentrated on the 7 and was thinking county.
Well, can you imagine 7 Black Lives Matters running the Baltimore County education system? It'll be a disaster. We have 115,000 students in Baltimore County. We have 50,000 parents. And the county, let me tell you what's happening in the county, Andy. Black Lives Matter is already running the Board of Education.
Well, they tried to do it in Queen Anne's County.
You got it.
Yeah,
as you know.
And Giordano.
I'll tell you, Monica,
we had people step up, just like Nicole said, step up, and put your name on the ballot, work hard, and sure enough, we now control that school board.
And she's
gone.
You saw the Antifa bus on I-95.
Giordano Schiffer, she's a super citizen.
I wish I would have known that.
But I want to get back to what Nicole said.
They would have saw us too.
For a very short 25 years I've been doing talk radio. And I would get that question on every show. What can I do? And I used to tell people, make sure you're registered to vote, make sure you vote, and make sure you pay attention. So when we formed Super Citizen, Valerie said to me, she said, you know what you're saying? You're saying what Super Citizen is. So now I tell people, I'm telling you all out there right now, if you're not a member of Super Citizen, you're missing a lot, because we concentrate on local. We are suing the Baltimore County School Board. We sued the county executive for Vince's Crab House. We pick up thousands of members every month, and I think it's going to grow even more. Now, go to supercitizenusa.com and join. Hit that donate button.
Super Citizen USA.
Because there are other organizations. We don't criticize any organization. And I'll be honest with you, we are not Republican. We are nonpartisan. 30% of our members are Democrats, and also independents, to be honest about it. So, you ask me, what can I do? Go join Super Citizen and support Who do you have here tonight? You have Andy Harris and you have Nicole Harris here. These are the kind of people that you need to hear from. These are the kind of people you need to know about. These are the kind of people you need to hear their viewpoint and their side of the story, not the Baltimore Sun and those wackos that constantly attack Andy.
Wackos!
And so that's what Super Citizen can do.
It's the networking that's so important. You know, just everybody get into a network like Super Citizen so that you stay informed, you know what's going on.
Join.
And,
Join.
We're
Andy
just gonna
Harris is
have
talking to all
to
of us.
protest peacefully, but make sure that you know, we can't. You just can't get run over, and that's what they're going to try to do. That's what the liberals are going to try to do. Try to run us. Wait until you see the General Assembly session this year.
Oh,
my God.
The first thing I'm thinking about is mail-in voting.
They're going to support it.
They're going to support
You know
mail-in voting, and you and I both know that I
man.
can, you know, about
man.
there are. Let me pick up your ballot from you.
Sure, and by the way, they're going to probably
Support
also
harvesting.
not,
But-
no signature checks,
That's
no
terrible.
signature
But I
verification, the whole
have a
thing.
good
Problem,
solution
man.
for that.
This is
Okay,
a hell of a
I've been
show.
thinking really
I'm glad
hard
you
about it.
watched.
Valerie, firearms are not allowed.
Well, yeah, that's true. And we know that. But with that being said, why don't they come up with, and I'm going to use this word loosely, like a national voter's card that has your name, your picture, your
The
photo
mark of the
ID.
beast.
No. Your photo ID, your name, and your address on that card. That way, when you go right in there and you show that to the election judge,
Thank
it
you,
shows
Rachel
exactly-
Maddow.
What's
3
wrong
minutes
with
over.
that?
No,
What is wrong with that?
you got to
On
be
a state
careful
level.
about that. On a state level,
Yeah.
voter ID, yeah.
We have
I mean, I
voter
can go
something
into
simple like
I
that,
can
yeah.
go into every nursing home and go and sit there.
Hey, we're going to go on
and fill out
commercial, but
ballots
let's have a
for
song.
nursing
It's Shot Down
Think
in
about
It's a nursing home vote.
Flames.
All right, we got to take a break. We've got a lot of callers. We're going to have to go to these callers. We'll be right back.
We've always had villains to face.
Bad guys to take down. But you are the most horrible of all. We're not here because we have to be.
We're here because we've had enough of it.
Oh
We all
boy.
have the power to do something, to stand up to cancer.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's crazy as hell. Crazy. I'm telling you right now. Those of you watching, man, we got a lot of calls, but you can also call in. Okay, so why don't you give us a call? Shut up, I'm talking. So, yeah, let's do that. We got Andy Harris here. Let me see if I can get this over here. Let's see everybody in here. Let's see. Pat McDonough. Let me see. Andy Harris. Everybody. Can you see everybody in there? Yeah, see them? There's my microphone, but there's Andy Harris, his wife, nice. There's Valerie sitting right there. All right. So that's what's going on. Yes, there it is. I'd like to have the last part of the show sitting where you can see this. Let's see if this can be done. Let's see. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Let's see. No. I can't see. Well, I hope so. Maybe we can put that there. Yes. So I hope you can see. WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. We're on Savage speaking. Who's calling, please? Oh, okay. Yeah. Hold on one second. Pete from Centerville, wait a minute. Yeah. And you want to talk about the what? Real quick, what's your topic? Oh. You got it. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Pete, you hold on. We'll get you right on, okay? All right, hold on, please. Thank you. Pete from Centerville. He's a real farmer, too. Right from the Eastern Shore.
Well, I got my fingers on this. I'm taking that piece. I wanted to.
There's a poet out there on family. You should see how I make pierogi. Oh. Wait, no, they're good though.
I'm sick and tired of Democrats. There's one place where you can use your mind.
About to lose my mind.
Instead of losing.
Don't go crazy.
Crazy. Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
And now back to Super Citizen Radio on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Boom, 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 boom.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Our special guest, of course, is Congressman Andy Harris and his wife, Nicole Harris. And we're going to take some... And you're also here, right?
Yes, but can I ask Andy a question?
No. Yeah.
I'm going to ask him anyway. Andy, you know, what was it, Wednesday, Tuesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
What were you doing? I mean, did you go to the rally at all, or?
I didn't, because, I was preparing, I was reading the election, things about the election, what the arguments we were going to make on the floor against accepting so I was working for the people. I mean,
and you were a limited number. Not everybody in the House were forced or mandated to be there, but you were.
No, yeah. In fact, Nancy Pelosi had very strange rules where only 11 people from each party could be in the chamber, and you're like, wait a minute, we're going to discuss something that's important. And if you know the chamber. I mean, you can put 100 people in there, and they're social distance. Where you can probably put 150 in there with social distancing. She limited it to 11, and the Republicans are like, no, this is important. We're going to be here. About 120 Republicans on the floor.
So you were basically
about 10
working.
Democrats.
So that day you were basically.
You had to be there.
I was working. I mean, this is a very important day.
He was doing his job.
He was doing his job, working for the taxpayers.
Yep. And he was doing a good job. And he stood up and said what he had to say. And you know what's amazing, Andy? You should really get a lot of credit for what you did, because you're the only one that did it. You stood up out of all those Republicans, and you straightened that guy out because he was breaking the rules.
Lamb, yeah, that's unbelievable.
You deserve a lot of credit. Here is Lily. Lily,
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi. I just wanted to come on and first say, Congressman Harris, I'm deeply glad when you contested the election. Also, regarding the schools, high school, in the public school system, and it has pretty much been wiped out. And we had people like Betsy DeVos that made the promise that we would go back to school. And it is now January, and she resigned. But we are now, I think we're on the 10th month of this everlasting quarantine. I'm just wondering, is there, what is it going to take to open the public school system?
Well, Lily, I will tell you that I know Secretary DeVos did make that promise, and we tried to get funding in those COVID bills directed, right, but we tried to get funding in the bills that would be directed only to those locations that opened up schools.
That would have helped, yeah.
And, of course, the Democrats opposed it.
Right.
I mean, they wanted money to go to schools that are closed. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're closed.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need more money if you're closed?
Also, Lily, most of these decisions are made at the local level, and I don't know if you were tuned in earlier, but as I mentioned, the Super Citizen Legal Foundation is suing the Baltimore County school system. It was announced today in front of hundreds of people who had showed up for the rally, and that is what you need to do at the local level. Now, in Harford County, you're in the same problem, and I don't know if they have we can't just we can do it on our own, but we really need people of standing who are parents, and we have 2,500 parents that are available to stand up. I don't know if you have a group online, if for example, in Harford County. I mean, we can sue Harford County also, but that is the only way you're going to get to these people, because these school boards and superintendents are under the power of the teachers' unions.
Well, it wasn't only that. In the very beginning, it was Governor Hogan that actually closed down all the schools. And then what happened was it was like a ping pong game.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the authority to open them.
No, yeah, but so what he did was he left it all up to the county executive. So now
No. He technically, legally does not have the authority to open the schools. It's a decision made by the superintendent, not even the county executive, quite frankly. has the power.
Oh, okay, then I gave out misinformation.
Well, you're not going into the courtroom next week, then. But Lily, that's what we have to do, and I know you're one of our friends, and that's the word you have to spread. But Andy, what he just said, see, that's the greatness about Trump. Trump gave us so many gifts that were unsolicited, unexpected, and they were wonderful. And used the federal government in the proper way to try to influence, like these local school boards. And money certainly influences people, that's for sure. Here is Claude, who wants to talk. We'll go back to originally the Capitol Police. Claude, good evening.
Andy, how you doing, sir?
Good, I'm good.
Well, I'm glad you wasn't hurt in that melee or whatever you want to call it. But they probably wasn't Trump supporters. They probably was Antifa, really, involved in it. But they're not going to say that. But here's my question for you. A couple questions. Can the president pardon himself?
Yes. Yes, the president could. Yeah, I mean, and there's there's legal debate, but basically most legal scholars, the president could pardon himself. Yes.
I would do that myself because they're trying to get this man.
Oh, they will. Oh, they will not stop until he is either impeached again and then can't hold office, or until they try to put him behind bars. But the thing about President Trump is he's a business guy from New York. He's used to being in court, to being sued all the time or whatever. So
they talk about suits he lost. He won 90% of his lawsuits.
That's right.
And let me.
Will they lay the officer out in the Capitol?
I don't know. There was some talk of that. I just don't know because we're out now until we'll probably come back to impeach the president Monday or Tuesday. But otherwise, we were supposed to be out until the inauguration. So we're not getting a whole lot of information. Nancy Pelosi's making all the decisions. Even though she only won by a narrow margin, has a very narrow majority, she's really like an authoritarian.
And let me say
another thing.
Check, you think?
What's that?
Are we going to get another stimulus check, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think probably within a month.
Okay, and let me say another thing. Andy
Thank
Harris,
you, Claude.
Congressman Harris was not at that protest. He was in his office and in committees and on the floor that day. He was working for the taxpayers. And I'll say it again, he was not at that protest.
No. I was representing my district. I mean, my district supports the president. My district voted for the president. A large majority of my district voted for the president. They know that this president cares for the average working man and woman in this country.
Yeah.
And not the liberal elites. It's President Trump who cares for them. And they know it. They feel it. You can't fool Americans. You can't. You didn't fool 75 million people.
They're catching on.
Despite the press being against the president every day for 4 years,
lying constantly.
They couldn't fool 75 million people.
Well, here's the deal, as Joe Biden would say. He's going to have to pardon his entire family. Because they're going to come after them. And he's going to be the first president in the history of the United States to pardon 75 million people. Because they're coming after everybody.
This cancel culture is not stopping.
Okay.
Punishment politics, Andy. You got to spread that
I'm going to try to get you on in front of these
Here
guys.
is Mark. Mark?
Yeah, because they're hitting Mark now.
Good evening, Shabuto, and good evening, especially to Congressman.
Oh, no, you got it. Oh, you're always my favorite. We were neighbors.
Show
Thank you.
Weekday morning.
Okay, hold on.
Very much. I'm a religious Jew, and this morning, when we were at the synagogue for our weekly Shabbat morning service, I was disturbed to hear that at the rally this past week for President Trump, there were individuals seen wearing clothing that was, to be quite honest, was of an anti-Semitic sort. Some was seen wearing a clothes saying that the Holocaust never happened, and there was one I was told, which I almost threw up, saying that 6 million Jews were not, there weren't enough Jews burnt, or whatever. This really brings disturbing alarms to us in the Jewish community worldwide. And I wanted to know, as far as you know, what do you know about that, and what can be done? And I am concerned with the other parties, some of their, not all, but some of their members, that are maybe not overtly, but covertly are anti-Semitic. And to be honest with you, I'm thinking about getting my passport renewed, and so be planning on moving to Israel, because we may, in the Jewish community, be rushing out soon to go to our Jewish homeland.
Well,
what do you know?
So, thank you, Mark. Again, I wasn't at the rally itself, but I will tell you, Mark, I'm highly suspicious that these were people who infiltrated the rally to cause trouble. Because I know a lot of President Trump supporters. You know, the people who claim that, everybody knows he obviously not anti-Semitic with moving the embassy to Jerusalem, all the things that he's done.
His daughter being
for the state of
Jewish,
Israel, and obviously,
his son-in-law being Jewish,
right,
his grandchildren being Jewish.
But the party of Trump is not the party of anti-Semitism. I will tell you, I am convinced that there were infiltrators in that rally. They were there to cause trouble, and that's one way to cause trouble. Wear a shirt like that, so that someone in the press takes a picture of it and says, "Oh, these are the Trump bigots." Nonsense. I mean, highly, highly suspicious of that. But anti-Semitism has no place in the world. Clearly.
There have been hundreds of Trump rallies over 4 years. We have attended a number of them. You have attended a number of them. There is no sign of anti-Semitism. Clearly, on the radical left and the radical Democrat Party, there is a lot of anti-Semitism.
Sure, Ilhan Omar.
It's part of their philosophy. They're pro-Palestine.
Absolutely.
This is the first president in the history of the United States who has actually unified the Middle East with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the Emirates, and Jordan, and everybody now working with Israel, having treaties with Israel. That is very scary, because if Biden and that bunch go in there and start putting that Palestinian card on the table, and this all falls apart, we've got a serious problem. So, Mark, I can assure you and our Jewish listeners that the conservative patriotic movement in America, Republicans and Democrats and independents, are pro-Israel and welcome the Jewish community, and we have many super citizens who are Jewish, I can tell you.
I don't know how anybody says that the Holocaust didn't happen. We've had the extreme honor, solemn honor, to walk through Auschwitz and
We got it again, baby.
Birkenau,
Hold on.
and just when you walk that ground, walking the ghetto area of Krakow, what was the ghetto and stuff of Krakow, you absolutely can't deny what happened in World War II and these horrible behavior. And there's been, in World War II wasn't the only time, the Jews have been persecuted many times.
It goes all the way back to the Roman Empire. To Nebuchadnezzar, right back to Babylon.
So, yes. So, there are always going to be some people who,
but if you have
their own
doubts,
agenda.
I'll make a suggestion. Watch the Discovery Channel.
Oh, okay.
Hitler is featured every night in black and white, and they of the various concentration camps. Yeah. They show you the people, the dead people. It's tough to watch, let me tell you.
Oh, it's tough to be there and to stand on that ground.
But you know what's amazing? It's all about the big lie. Look what they've done to this president. When he announced he was running for president, they said that all illegal immigrants are rapists and murderers. He didn't say that. Never said it.
Nope.
He said that at Charlottesville, that the
1 minute.
The white supremacists
people. They were good people. He never said
he
that.
wasn't talking about them.
Right.
He criticized them, and he criticized Antifa, and they repeat the lie over and over again. A gentleman from Germany in the 1930s did the same thing. Said, repeat the lie, and it will come. And then they're backed up by the fascists. I'm going to. Fascist press. I'm not going to call them corrupt. Fascists. They're fascists, and they are the most powerful force. They're more powerful than politicians in this country. How do the American people communicate? Big tech and the media. We're not there. The fascists own it. We don't own it. Yeah. Yes, dear.
And tell everybody who it was during the 1930s that did that.
Did what?
That was going around telling lies and spreading them, and people believed them. It was Adolf Hitler.
Of course, it was Adolf Hitler, and Goebbels, and Goebbels, and Joseph Goebbels.
Forgot about that.
Actually, his big hero was a 1920s public relations guy in the United States who created the public relations business. I can't remember his name, but Goebbels was a big fan. All right, let's take some more calls. Where do you go? What are you doing? No, we can't. We got to take a break, and then we'll take some calls.
Right around the mid-20s, average low for this time of year. Low 40s is the average high, and we are going to surpass both of those marks. Under clear skies, we'll fall back to around 30. We'll see some upper 20s. Sunshine for our Sunday, mid to upper 40s.
Right now it's 9:41.
Sunday night, overnight low 28. Mid to upper 40s ahead for our Monday. And the only rain or wintry weather, Monday night, late, slight chance for rain and snow. I'm Jeff Eno for the Weather Channel for Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Listen every Sunday from 6:05 to 6:20 a.m. for a broadcast from the internationally known St. Jude Shrine in Baltimore. St. Jude is the patron saint of despair in hopeless cases. Sunday mornings from 6:05 to 6:20 on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
When your vehicle needs help, Jeff's Automotive Services is the place to go. Your vehicle will be worked on by Automotive Service ASE certified technicians. Jeff services all vehicles, including cars, SUVs, trucks, both medium and light duty, and there are always specials available at Jeff's Automotive Services. Just call 410-682-5700. Jeff's Automotive Services is locally owned and conveniently located in the heart of Essex at 313 Mace Avenue. Jeff's is the winner of the Best Automotive Service Award for 2019 by the Avenue Newspaper's Readers Poll. Jeff's offers 10% discounts to all seniors and active military members and would like to thank our military members for their service. Jeff's Automotive Services has a name you can trust. Remember, call 410-682-5700 for Jeff's Automotive Services.
The IRS, the world's most aggressive collection agency. They can seize your property, bank account, wages. They cause sleepless nights for millions of Americans. Don't be one of them. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, get protected today. Call 800-312-9970. Coast One Tax Group, protecting your bank, home, and your sleep since 2008. With hundreds of 5-star reviews and an A+ on the Better Business Bureau. Call Coast One Tax Group, 800-312-9970. Stanley from New York owed $93,000. The IRS placed a levy on his bank account. Coast One released the levy and settled with the IRS for $2,000. Mark in Michigan owed $225,000. After Coast One stepped in, Mark walked away paying less than $1,500. Call Coast One now. A 10-minute call can save you up to 93% on your back taxes. Get your fresh start today. That's 800-312-9970.
It's Baltimore's #1 marketplace, Radio Flea Market with Jay Harris, Sunday mornings from 7 until 8 a.m. Exclusively on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
And we're back.
And now back to Super Citizen Radio on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Congressman Harris, we got a lot of callers. I'm going to try to get them. I'm going to say to you callers, I know you've been waiting, but try to be brief. We'll try to get to as many as possible. What's going to happen in 22 with the House of Representatives? We have a shot at taking the MAC?
Yeah, I think if you were betting, you'd bet we do for two reasons. One is because people are going to be tired of looking at Nancy Pelosi. Her margin's very narrow, and we did great in the elections. We're going to have a great redistricting around the country. Yeah. We'll probably pick up 4 or 5 seats, maybe 6 or 7, just from redistricting alone. And of course, the first year of a president's term, in the first election, the other party always wins. Well, not always. Traditionally, I mean, and it's been true recently. I think this year is going to be no exception.
Do you think if the Republicans took over the House, we could still keep Nancy as the Speaker?
We should keep her in a very prominent role because she's very useful for fundraising.
I think she might even retire, to tell you the truth.
I think she has retired mentally.
Mentally, yeah. I like to call her the Squirrel or Nancy the Ripper.
Ooh.
All right, here is Monica, Chestertown. That's over your
Monica, yes.
Monica, good evening.
Hi, good evening. I was driving north from Fulton County, Georgia. I just happened to be in that county on the day of their election, and I was heading north. I stopped on the last rest stop on I-95 and before D.C. And when I was there, it was filled with Trump supporters. I just had to do a quick stop for the bathroom break, and as I was leaving, I noticed a large brown bus, and it was parked really far apart from everyone else. It was at the very end of the exit, and it was parked in such a way I had to jog around it, and I'm traveling alone in a big car, and I got a little nervous because it was 3:30 in the morning, and I was close proximity to the edge of the road, So I thought if someone's going to try to step out in front of my car, that would be the spot they would do it. So I had to jog around.
All right, Monica, you got to get to the point. We don't have much time.
It was an Antifa bus.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Antifa bus.
We're starting to hear that, yeah.
Yep, not surprised.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. There's an eyewitness.
Yeah, no, and
sounds honest to me.
Yep.
All right, let us talk with Mike.
Hello, Pat.
Hey, Mike.
This is Andy. Hello, guys. Andy, I think you're my representative in Carroll County, right?
I represent the northern part of Carroll County, so if you're kind of north of Westminster,
He's in
probably.
Finksburg.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm in Vicksburg.
Yep.
Okay, listen, this will give hope to a lot of people. I think you might know this, I don't know. But on Thursday, Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney, speaking at the White House, I heard him speak, he said, white hats, in parentheses, good guys, part of Special Forces, got Nancy Pelosi's laptop during the breach of the Capitol on Wednesday. He says she is frantic, and this is why she's pushing to impeach Trump. They also got Schumer's and one other guy.
Who got them?
Yeah, no, the people who invaded. We know Pelosi's laptop was taken.
Oh, wow.
From her office, yeah.
It was Special Forces infiltrated Antifa, and there were MAGA people, dummies, that just walked in there. They were taking pictures of pictures, and he said a lot of stuff. I'm trying to give you something.
All right, well, Mike,
we'll get to the bottom of it, Mike. We'll get to the bottom of it. We have to.
There he is, yeah. But there is hope, guys.
Yep.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. Here is Amy.
You still got a lot of calls.
Amy, good evening.
Yes. Hi, thanks for taking my call. So, I got a question. What if Donald Trump declares martial law?
Well, he won't. I mean, it had been talked about. He won't. Mine is that, on 2 Wednesdays from now, Joe Biden's going to be sworn in as president. We're going to be the loyal opposition. I think we should do exactly what they did. We should just resist from day one.
They're coming.
We have no choice. We have no choice in this. We have to resist from day one. We have to take back the House and the Senate in 2022.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Joe Biden, they talk about the 25th Amendment to invoke the 25th Amendment
I don't know
against
if
the
you've seen
president.
him this week, Joe Biden. This
He
week,
looks
you heard him
terrible.
talk. It's unbelievable.
I think we ought to
His
invoke
speaking, his brain is not functioning at normal speed.
He's the guy
I'm
that
sorry,
needs the
and
25th
That's
Amendment.
my doctor opinion. That's not my political opinion. It's my doctor opinion.
That's the 25th Amendment right there.
That is.
And we've been
scary because Kamala Harris would take over.
Nutty Kamala.
She's something
nuts.
else.
She's nuts. All right, here
Senator
is,
Johnny on 3.
Here is Alex. Alex, good evening.
Thanks for taking my call. Hey, Harris, I stayed up late to watch you the other night. Inspiring, man. I was fired up,
Did you see my comments on that Pennsylvania electors?
WCBM?
Yeah.
And passion.
The Pat
It was good stuff. Appreciate you. Hey, I want to talk about the Holocaust real quick. The guy was saying he was going to move home.
Oh, did
because
they talk
he
to
didn't
you?
like somebody's T-shirt or something. I never understood why we have museums and monuments and memorials in every city. Where the communists killed 10 million white Christians in the 20s, and we never talk about that.
Right.
Well,
right
at the
now,
end of World War II,
we're so stuck.
this was a white Christian nation still.
Yeah.
And yet, we get hit over the head with this Holocaust stuff. Supposedly the Holocaust education is about keeping genocides from happening, but the same language that was used towards the Jews leading up to the Holocaust is being used against white people right now.
Being used against Trump supporters.
Yeah, used against Trump supporters. I mean, there was a political cartoon in the Washington Post 2 weeks ago that showed people like me who had signed on to the Texas Brief as rats. Now, it's funny if you go back to Hitler's time. That's exactly the way
The Jews.
Hitler.
And I'm going to relay that immediately.
The way the political cartoons at that time, exactly the same way.
No, I'm not.
Got to be very careful. Now, I will say one point is that if you go to Europe, they actually do have museums against communism. We don't have that in this country. I don't know
Especially in
why.
Poland,
Yeah, I don't know why, but
definitely.
Poland, Lithuania, all the countries that knew what communism was all about, they have museums. Why don't we have one? Why don't we have a museum of communism? Show people what it was like.
Yeah, we don't. There's a lot of things we don't have, like Freedom Day, but I'll tell you another
AOC
thing.
could be in there.
a lot of current people could occupy there. But Joseph Goebbels, a lot of people don't know, he wrote a book, and the book was pretty amazing if you read in the book. But Joseph Goebbels talked about saying to Hitler, and he advised him. He was in every meeting with Hitler.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And he died with him. Allegedly, if Hitler died. Yeah, I mean, him and he murdered suicide in the bunker with his wife and 6 children. So Joseph Goebbels was closest to Hitler than anybody on a person. And he told Hitler in some conversations, one of the conversations, he told Hitler, we have to dehumanize the opposition before we destroy them.
Yep.
And they are dehumanizing us. They're turning us into smelly Walmart people who eat at the Olive Garden, and we're useless and worthless, and now we're insurrectionists.
Wow.
That grandmom that took that American flag and that MAGA hat and went over on a bus from White Marsh is now a terrorist.
Yep, and she'll be a rat in a political cartoon.
Yeah.
You don't get more dehumanized than portray someone as, say, animal. And that's exactly what the left is doing.
I'll tell you nothing. In a conversation with Hitler, Goebbels was telling him about the budget. And he said, my Fuhrer, we have enough money in the budget to do one of 2 things. We can either pay for the brown shirts to continue on the streets, or we can pay for our radio and newspaper propaganda.
I doubt it.
And Hitler said, let the thugs raise their own money. Get the radio and the newspapers out there.
Call next week.
Knew the difference, right? All right, here is Senator Johnny
Thank
Ray
you so much, and I apologize.
Sailing himself. Johnny, how you doing, buddy?
How are you doing?
We're working hard here, trying to save America.
Well, I want to thank you so much for doing the radio and Congressman Harrison and
wait a minute.
I want to
Security.
thank you for always being the fighter and being and stepping up, because we don't have congressmen or senators stepping up right now for our president or even for our nation, and you're there, and I wish I could be there fighting with you, but I promise you one thing. I will be in Annapolis. I will be fighting there, and I want to fight for that freedom.
I'm Ciparelli's guy, you know. I'm Johnny D, you know. Never all
Johnny, we're going to let you sponsor that.
That's okay.
The first one to call for the impeachment and removal of the president. The first one in our delegation was Dutch Ruth.
Elections have consequences. Johnny Ray Sailing ran a great race for Congress. Got a lot of votes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a gerrymandered district,
Yeah, but
obviously.
he would have been, you would have been there on the floor with me, early Thursday morning,
Johnny
making the case for the president.
Right.
And he's a young guy, and he's tough. He could have been your bodyguard.
And it's just a shame.
Are you good with boxing gloves?
Yeah.
He's an athlete. He was a baseball player. I'll tell you.
And just to say, whatever it takes, we'll do all that we can next time around. But we're going to be in Annapolis next week, and it's again, as you know, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a lot of things that I know that the radical is going to be radical.
I stressed try the house salad and Ciparelli's.
But I know I'm going to be fighting against a lot of people there. And
you have a God bless and call next week.
We need to pray as a nation. We need to get back on our knees.
Bye-bye.
And we need to pray. We need to get back to God. But I don't fear any of them. I don't fear man. I just fear God. But they need to realize that there's consequences in everything, and I think in the long run they'll realize that.
We hope so. Yeah. Thank you, Johnny.
Johnny Ray General Asylum back in session next week.
I was going to say, the General Asylum is back in session on June the 13th.
Worse than ever.
Oh my God! I witnessed over 16 years, and you were there. The deterioration. I mean, these people are like radical nutcases. They're beyond hope. And you talk to the lobbyists. This is interesting. We talked to some of the lobbyists we know, and they all have to be nice. Yep. They have to be courteous, right? But they will tell you these people are sick.
It's going to be just like this session's going to be just like it was when Martin O'Malley gave everybody all those huge tax increases a couple of years ago. Because everybody was so uptight.
Well, the governor has no power.
Yeah. Oh, he thinks he has it.
No, they changed the law now.
Yeah, yes.
They changed the Constitution.
The only power he had was with the budget.
Now it's taken away.
Now we have 100.
And he did it to himself. He did it to himself by early endorsing.
Yeah, we have 187 governors now.
Yep.
That present the budget. And that's how it was originally, but it was so bad and so confused, they changed the Constitution to give the governor the power. Same thing they did in New York and other states. Now we have gone backwards. So we have 187 radical nutcases deciding the budget for the state of Maryland for education. In other words, this is the first time that Black Lives Matter will get money from our budget, like $10 million or something. Anyway, here is George in Towson. George, good evening.
Hey, Uncle Pat. Happy New Year to you all. Thanks
Sure.
for continuing to fight. We went to the rally on the 6th. I would not call it a protest. It was more like Woodstock without the bands. It's a very friendly, peaceful event. We walked down from Union Station, past the Capitol, down to the Ellipse, talked to people. Everybody was having a good time. To the speech, at no time did Trump incite people to march on the Capitol.
Oh my God!
March on the Capitol way before the speech was ever.
That was part of the tour, right?
Right, they were already planning to do that. Once the speech started to wind down, people started to slowly turn up towards the Capitol. They walked up there talking, hanging out, having a good time. There was no mob rule going there. There was no anger, no fighting, no
right now we're
screaming or yelling. It was just a peaceful.
And this is not the first time that the Trump rallies have been in Washington. They've been there multiple times, large numbers of people.
It was one of the most peaceful. It was a great day. But when we got up towards the Capitol, there's that little 4-foot wall there. There were some guys who were dressed differently than the crowd. They told us, they kept calling us to come up.
2 minutes,
come up,
heartbreak.
move up. But we didn't want to cross into the lawn area by the Capitol. So we finally went over there. They pulled us up over the wall. And as we thought about it later, these were not Trump supporter types. These were more militant anarchist types.
Which could be from the right or left, basically. Yeah, but you know,
I don't know what they were exactly, but we did know, we didn't see any of that down where we were. We walked about 5 miles. When we got
all right, George, we got to go. We got to try to get one more caller in. Thank you.
Well, thanks for being there.
I'm trying to get my friend Bob in. Bob, good evening. Well, Bob didn't wait. Bob couldn't wait. We can understand that. No, we're out of time.
George's point is right. I mean, I'm convinced there were outside influences there, and hopefully we investigate, we find out, you get to the bottom of it.
Well, we hope, and then we hope once we get to the bottom of it, just like with Hunter Biden and his little computer, and being under investigation for 12 months, nobody knows about it. MSNBC doesn't know about it. CNN, Kumo, I don't know anything. It's like the Sergeant Schultz syndrome. We know nothing.
Don't insult Sergeant Schultz.
He's a relative.
50 seconds.
No, I just appreciated that show.
I know nothing. I hear nothing. And, you know, I mean, it's like we don't know anything. Anyway.
Since we're almost out of time, can I very quickly say, today is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, so I just want to say thank you to all those who, you know, wear the blue uniform, who, you know, protect us day in and day out in so many different ways and everything, and a big hi to my brothers and sisters at FOP Lodge 34.
And seconds. I will say this in response to that: defund George Soros.
That's who should be defunded.
I have one. I got to get my thing in.
I'm waiting.
Oh, okay. You don't want me to miss
10
it.
seconds.
Always remember, truth and knowledge guarantee liberty. Keep the faith and keep. We'll see you next week.
Well, the lawyers who are in here.
Stay connected with stimulating talk and breaking news. Talk Radio 680 WCBM, Baltimore. WCBM.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Ron Jarostra. The call among Democrats to again impeach President Trump is increasing.
One article of impeachment has been drafted, accusing President Trump of abuse of power, saying, quote, he willfully made statements that encouraged and perceivably resulted in imminent lawless action at the Capitol, unquote. As for where he stands, Vice President-elect Biden evaded questions by reporters.
I'll be speaking with Nancy and the Democratic leadership.
Biden says he prefers the transfer of power to take place on Inauguration Day.
What action happens before or after that is a judgment for the Congress to make, but that's what I am looking forward to.
Impeachment articles are expected to be introduced Monday with a House vote possibly as soon as next Wednesday. George Manzani reporting.
Brian Sicknick, the Capitol Police officer